Well, hello guys, and welcome to a video of great importance. You may be wondering, where the hell were you for the last week? You disappeared for a while. There were no videos. There were no nothing. Yeah, was have been extremely busy with a bunch of stuff, including moving and which has not happened yet. I am still in the same apartment. But it turns out that that's not the only giant change, and it has nothing to do with the JP character that I missed last week, but I will definitely be covering in the very near future. It has to do with a posting on both JP and Global, because let me tell you right now, after all this bullshit gets off the screen, spank me Rosie. Because yeah. And I don't even need to translate this because I actually have an official translation on my screen over here. So let's read it. Hello, all players out there enjoying the global version of War of the Visions, Final Fantasy Brave Exvius. This is Hiroki, the global producer of the game. We have a big announcement for all our players, which we are bringing to you in the form of a letter from the producer. At the end of September 2023, global and Japanese version of Wotv FFB will both become the new War of the Visions Final Fantasy Brave Exvius worldwide version. We have decided to unify Japanese and global teams to create a smoother development environment and bring our global players new content sooner so they don't have to wait so long to enjoy new experiences. We believe this boost to our development capabilities will also deliver better game experiences for all. Up until now, unit scenarios and other content have been roughly released with roughly a 4-month delay when compared to the Japanese version. Once the global version of the game becomes the worldwide version, which global, worldwide, not get into it too much. However, new content will be released with approximately a 1-month delay or less. While our goal is a simultaneous release of all content, processes like translation, localization, quality assurance, etc. remain necessary. As a result, there will be times when we have no choice to schedule content for after the Japanese release. We will be striving to improve these areas going forward. Because there are still differences in the release schedule after the shift to the worldwide version, there will also be still 2 versions of the app, the Japanese app and the global app. This means you can continue playing the worldwide version on your current app. In order to launch the worldwide version by the end of September, as mentioned above, we have been making changes to the existing schedule. Therefore, the release schedule leading up to launch of the worldwide version is tighter than usual for some units and collaborations. We thought about making cuts because of how overwhelming it may be for players, but we ultimately decided that we did not want to detract from your player experience by skipping any units, vision cards, collaborations, or any other highlights. We do apologize for any concerns you have caused in the changing of the normal schedule. Here on the team, we are well aware that some players might feel frustrated when it comes to overlapping release of 100 cost units. Actually, we were already feeling that. Just going to break in for a second. Most people were already feeling a little bit overwhelmed by the number of 100 cost units, but overwhelming, yeah, might push people over the edge. Lemon tea. With this in mind, we are planning various campaigns both inside and outside the game under the banner we named Road to the Worldwide version. The aim is to make sure that all players get set running up to late September. We all want to make sure that the run up to the worldwide version is as exciting as possible. First campaign will be Road to the Worldwide version, blah, 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 starting from the 19th of this month. Also, in the Give Back Festival, players will receive 1 summon certificate for every 2,000 Vizier they've used in summoning since the release of the global version, which is something very comparable to what JP had more recently, and they're just kind of condensing everything down. We are planning part 2 and a part 3 of the campaign, so keep an eye out for updates. Cool. And then there's just a bunch of other stuff. And now I'm just going to pull up the JP version once I figured out, because it got shifted around here. But this is pretty major news, and JP has already gotten this news, and I think that it's quite interesting because it's always felt like this was kind of what we were gearing for. It's not like FFB where there was a longer period of time. It's only been ever like 3-4 months difference between JP and global, which has felt small enough that they might as well have just tightened this up and made just a worldwide version for language purposes, for audio purposes, for everything essentially, just to make it also easier for releasing content. Now, from what it sounds like, there'll still be some stuff that's coming out slightly earlier on JP, and I think that's fine. But overall, I feel like this is just a net positive, and finally, I can retire. Maybe a joke. But seriously, like, I've really, obviously, my channel has been focused around giving players heads up notices and everything about that. And up until the end of September, seems like there'll be more of that. Now, I haven't really created a final video about talking about Ever Crisis yet, but Ever Crisis was something I generally pretty enjoyed and have a pretty much a way that I want to handle that going forward. But yeah, Wotv syncing up more of its releases seems like a general positive thing. And I feel like that it's probably just overall better, healthy for the game. For people who are worried about the amount of content that will be squeezed into global to try and catch you guys up, I wouldn't say that it's too terribly important at this point because, I mean, unless you're a mega whale, it feels like there's quite a few units that you can skip, and I'll cover that in a separate video once I've taken a little more time to think about it, because I haven't even talked about Cherise or the FF5 stuff that's coming this week to global. There you go. So let's just take a look at JP, because JP is a slightly different one. For players, the number of content will decrease. The number of events and content will decrease, and it will be integrated with the overseas version of a server. What will happen to the current guilds? We understand that you may be concerned about this, but even after the worldwide version has been reborn, or the versions have been reborn, there will be no major changes to the playing environment for those currently playing the Japanese version, and we can continue to provide services as before. Please rest assured. Regarding the main points, that we will be unifying the management system of the worldwide version. Implementing the timing of anniversary events will change greatly. From now on, we will set the timing of the worldwide version twice a year, anniversary of the Japanese version in November, and the anniversary of the global version in April. A large-scale anniversary event will be held in April and November, which is currently being planned. All staff are currently looking forward to making the operation cycle more enjoyable for a number of exciting events. Also, until now, we have not been able to deliver the global version units to the Japanese version players at an appropriate time, but from now on, we will be holding seasonal events around the world at the same time, which is good. And for just general purposes, it doesn't really make much sense for off-seasonal units to be coming at different times of the year when they are just not there. It's always been, it feels like a bigger disadvantage for global players, and this will kind of sync up the metas a little bit more. We are considering introducing some functions that were only introduced in the global version, such as seasonal home screens, which have been well received on the global version, to the Japanese version. Of course, it will become a worldwide version. You continue to play with the current application, and there's no need to install it again, so there is no need to worry. Since the launch of FFP series, we have focused on the global expansion, including Japan. As a result, we are looking for a better version overall. There will be a commemorative announcement of the worldwide version. We will prepare a campaign outside the game from the 24th of July. So there's a bunch of different stuff. Swimsuit Jaden seems to be coming to the JP version. Worldwide announcement commemorative, and then we get into Q&As. Will it be possible to play guilds and PvP together with overseas players in the world version? Even after the change to the worldwide version, there will still be a Japan distribution app and a global distribution app. And since the servers are different for each, you will not be able to form a guild together and play against each other, which is probably good because global players' VCs have quite a few different bonuses and benefits that have been added over the course of the game that JP just doesn't have, and they would either need to be entirely added to the JP version, or entirely removed from the global version, which doesn't seem possible, amongst potentially other things too. Will global version original units that have already been distributed be introduced to the Japanese version? Yes, we are planning to introduce some of them. Regarding which units to add, we would like to decide while listening to the opinion of players. So basically, for people who are like, haha, Addison is coming, that is not necessarily the case. That is basically just something that is going to be on a case-by-case basis by the Japanese players. And it makes sense since JP players really don't have interest in necessarily everything, but there are some things that we would like to see over here. So I think that's a good answer. When it comes to the worldwide version, what will happen to units that have performance differences between Japanese and global? We will not take measures such as filing the performance difference. Due to the fact that it will be a worldwide version, there will be no change to performance of already delivered units or PCs. So I mean, this seems generally like a little bit confusing. Like it's at this point, it's too difficult to combine just the two apps into one. Not to mention, like moving all of the accounts over to a single app just isn't possible. But still, overall, I feel like this is a generally better thing. Just have a more unified content delivery system going forward, because Wotv's content system isn't particularly that charged in a way. Like, you know, there's very rarely been a collaboration where we see more than 4 units, or I don't think we've ever seen more than 4, and you know, VCs and whatnot. So content delivery is already fairly, and it feels like both versions have been having, you know, this idea of maybe slightly dwindling player bases, maybe some, you know, not as much player intake. And part of that is, you know, just a little bit of confusion when players overseas see something that like that. Maybe they can start playing the app and saving up for it, but it kind of detracts a little bit from the excitement when you know it's 4 months down the line, and who knows what else you'll be playing. So yeah, I think for me personally, I think this is the overall net benefit for the game, for players, both sides kind of thing. And I think it'll be better going forward to just kind of sync it up and make sure that updates are a little more unison between the two. I really don't have any complaints. And you might think, oh, you must be really annoyed about the fact that, you know, you kind of lose a little bit of an advantage. But there's been other streamers and content creators who have been watching the JP version for a while now and have gotten more into it. So it feels more like the ground is shrinking under me. And personally, I'm just kind of figuring out where I want my channel to go, if anywhere, because right now it's generally, I still enjoy delivering content. I still enjoy having fun. I don't know why this character has these kind of animations on my screen, but there it is. I still enjoy it, and I still enjoy, you know, quite a bit of the community. Some of it's kind of rude, but yeah. So anyway, my 2 cents, my thoughts on it. It'll be interesting to see how the next few months leading up to the end of September go, with also Ever Crisis coming out as a, you know, another Final Fantasy game that can potentially offer players maybe a different experience on mobile for Final Fantasy. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. Take care, and see you next time.